Everyone, welcome back. So today we are moving into chapter number 2, professional ethics. Clear? This is our chapter number 2, professional ethics. And honestly, this is one of those chapters that students sometimes underestimate because they think, oh, it's just ethics, how hard it can be. But trust me, this chapter carries real weight in the exam. And more importantly, it actually makes you a better professional. So let's get into it properly. Now the whole chapter, this whole chapter revolves around the ACCA Code of Ethics and Conduct. ACCA Code of Ethics and Conduct. So ACCA is a member of IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants, and ACCA code is based on IESBA, International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. Don't worry too much about the names. What matters is understanding what the code actually say and how it works in practice. And here is the key. Here is the key thing you have to remember. And that is this code applies to all ACCA registered student, affiliates, and member. That means that you right now as a student are already bound by these ethical requirements. The moment you sign your application form to become a registered student, you committed to following this code. So this isn't just exam theory, it's real. Clear? Now here we have the section number 1. In this section, we have the 5 fundamental principles. And if you see here, we will discuss one by one all these fundamental. Clear? So let me show you here the fundamental principle, and this is your section number 1, right? So the code establishes 5 fundamental principles, and these are the foundation of everything. You have to understand this. And you have to learn these 5 because the entire chapter builds on top of them. The first one we have here is integrity. We'll discuss this in a very detail. Then the second one we will have objectivity. The third one we will have the professional competence and due care. Right? The fourth one we will have the confidentiality. And the fifth one we will have a professional behavior. So let's go through each one carefully, but you have to understand the basic, that what we mean by the integrity, what is objectivity. So if you understand it clearly, then definitely you will be able to crack your exam. Clear? Now here we have the first one, integrity. We have to discuss that what is integrity. So what does integrity mean? In a simple term, let me show you in a simple term that what does it mean. So it means being straightforward and honest in all professional, business, personal, and financial relationship. This means that being straightforward and honest in all your professional, business, personal, and financial relationship. Okay, but it goes a bit deeper than just don't lie. Integrity means that having the strength of character to act appropriately, even when it is difficult, even when there is a pressure on you to otherwise, even when doing the right thing might hurt you personally or professionally. Think about it. Imagine you are an auditor and the client is putting massive pressure on you to sign up a clean audit opinion when you know the financial statement have a material misstatement. Acting with integrity means that you stand your ground. You modify that opinion even if the client gets upset or even if you are worried about losing them. Okay, so you have to understand all these things when you have to act with integrity. Now here's the key test for integrity. You have to understand this. It's about association. Mean a professional accountant must not knowingly be associated with reports, returns, communication, or information that contain materially false or misleading statement, or contain statement or information provided recklessly or omit or obscure required information where such omission or obscurity would be misleading. Means that omit required information in a way that would mislead someone. Clear? So if your client asks you to prepare or sign up something that you know is misleading, your integrity is on the line. You either push back or you walk away from the engagement. Clear? So what is the important point here? That issuing a modified audit opinion doesn't breach integrity. Actually, it's opposite. It shows integrity. You are telling the truth about the problem rather than hiding it. Clear? So this is about integrity. You have to read it by yourself. This is just you'll go through it. Then we'll have objectivity. Let me explain the objectivity. That what is objectivity? In simple word, objectivity means that your professional judgment must not be compromised by bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence. By bias means that personal feeling or preferences. You should not be biased. Conflict of interest means that where you have something to gain from a particular outcome, then we call there is a conflict of interest. Undue influence means that where someone or something is pressurizing or swaying your judgment. Okay, so the key point here is this, that a professional accountant should not undertake a professional activity if a circumstances or relationship unduly influences their professional judgment regarding that activity. So if you are the auditor of a company and you also know a large number of shares in that company, so your objectivity is compromised because you own large number of shares in that company. There is a conflict of interest. You have a financial interest in the outcome of that audit. That is the problem. And we will come back to this when we discuss specific independence issue. Okay? Now the third one we have here is your professional competence and due care. Professional competence and due care. What does it mean? What does it mean that a professional competence and due care? This one is, really about two things working together. The first one is competence. And the second one is diligence, due care. Competence means that you must attain and maintain the level of professional knowledge and skill needed. You must have maintained, attain the level of professional knowledge and skill. Professional knowledge and skill. Clear? You need it, and you need to stay up to date. You have to update yourself. So you need to stay up to date with the current technical and professional standards and relevant legislation. Also you have to update yourself with the technology because you will have to face a problem. Yeah. If you don't have the IT knowledge, then how you will do your audit? You'll not be competent of that when doing the audit of IT related. And this is the ongoing duty. This is the ongoing duty. It is achieved through something called CPD. It's this one. This is achieved through continuing professional development. Clear? So continuing professional development, CPD. So even after you qualify, you are expected to keep learning and updating your knowledge. Clear? You have to keep updating yourself with the latest. Because when you are qualified, then you will receive a different type of email from our professional bodies about the new things, and that is to update you. You will also have to read the magazine, etc. Right? Now we have the second part, and that is due care. Due care, this one. By due care means that acting diligently. In other words, you perform your work carefully, thoroughly, and on a timely basis. Then we call that due care. In accordance with the applicable technical and professional standard, and there is a supervisory duty too. If you have a junior staff working under your authority, you must ensure they have appropriate training and supervision. Okay? You cannot just hand work to a junior or, and that's a fair. One more thing, where appropriate, client or employee should be informed of the limitation inherent in the service. So if you can only do so much, given the scope or the data available, you should be transparent about that. Clear? Here if you see, where appropriate, the implying organization should be imply of the limitation inherent in the service or activity. Clear? Now let's move on. We have competitionality. Competitionality, this one is a little bit big one. Especially in auditing, this is a very big one. The principle of competitionality require a professional accountant to respect the competitionality of information acquired as a result of professional and business relationship. So when you are doing audit, you will get information, and these information is the confidential document of that particular client. So you have to keep those information secure, and you have not violate the confidentiality of that information, right? So here is the rule, and in a simple way, that confidentiality or confidential information must not be disclosed to third party. Should not be disclosed to third party without proper and specific authority unless there is a legal or professional right or duty to disclose. This means that confidential information must not be disclosed to third parties without proper and specific authority unless there is a legal or professional right or duty to disclose. The second point here is use for any personal advantage or the advantage of a third party. This means that confidential information must not be used for any personal advantage or for the advantage of a third party. Clear? So the court specially warned accountant to be alert to the possibility of advertent disclosure. For example, accidentally mentioning client information in a social setting to a close family member. You might not intend to breach confidentiality, but it still happen. So be careful. Okay. Now, and this is important. This is important. And there are situations where you can or must disclose confidential information. We will go through this in a detail in a section 3. Okay. Where both the statutory legal duties and professional duties to disclose a certain circumstances. So confidentiality is not absolute. We'll discuss this later in the chapter number 3. Right. Now let's move on to the fifth one, and that is your professional behavior. Professional behavior. Okay. This one is about conducting yourself. Conducting yourself in a way that reflects well on the profession is very important. A professional accountant must what? Comply with the relevant laws and regulation. Second, behave in a manner consistent with the professional responsibility to act in the public. And the third one, avoid any conduct that might discredit the profession. Clear? So what we understand here, you have to understand and you have to clear your mind on this, that a professional accountant must comply with the relevant laws and regulation, behave in a manner consistent with the professional responsibility to act in the public, and the third one, avoid any conduct that might discredit the profession. And when it comes to marketing yourself or your firm, you should be honest and truthful. Okay? You should be honest and truthful. Don't make, exaggerate. You have not to make exaggerated claims about your services, your qualification, or your experience. And don't make, substantiated comparison to the work of the others. You have not to discredit or you have degrade the works of others. So saying, something like that, we are the best firm in the country, all other are, mediocre. So that is not a professional behavior because you are degrading the others. You don't have to degrade others. Okay. And you should always behave with a courtesy and, consideration toward everyone you encounter a professional capacity. Clear? So this is all about the 5 fundamental ethics. Now let's move on to the conceptual framework, and this is our section number 2. Clear? Conceptual framework section. Okay, I will continue this in the next lecture, right?